Είμαι η Μαρία, είμαι ψυχολόγος, είμαι ιδρύτρια της άμκης συμπερίληψη και αυτού εδώ του podcast, στο οποίο μιλάμε για ζητήματα ψυχολογίας, ψυχικής υγείας, αλλά και φιλοξενούμε ανθρώπους που εκπροσωπούν σημαντικούς τομείς της ζωής, ώστε να μοιράζονται μαζί μας τις ιστορίες τους. Θέλω να έρχεσαι στο podcast, θέλω να επικοινωνείς μαζί μου και αν έχεις κάτι σημαντικό να μοιραστείς το οποίο ταιριάζει με τη συμπερίληψη, θέλω να μου το παρουσιάσεις, προκειμένου να σε φιλοξενήσω εδώ, στο στούντιό μας, στο γραφείο μας, μπροστά από τις κάμερες και να κάνουμε μια πανέμορφη συζήτηση. Όμως έχω παρατηρήσει στα analytics, κόσμος πάει, κόσμος έρχεται, βλέπει, δεν βλέπει και δεν κάνει subscribe. Πώς πιστεύετε ότι θα γίνουμε ένα μεγάλο κανάλι και ότι η φωνή μας θα ακουστεί πάρα πολύ δυνατά αν δεν κάνετε subscribe? Για τον λόγο αυτό αμέσως τώρα πατάτε το subscribe και το κουδουνάκι και την καρδουλίτσα για να μπορέσετε να μας βοηθήσετε να διασπείρουμε το μήνυμα της ψυχικής υγείας και της συμπερίληψης όσο πιο μακριά γίνεται. Welcome, my dear Philippa. I'm so glad to have you here.
I genuinely can't express how overwhelming the experience is in a positive fashion. Actually,
It's the best episode. You are the best. You are absolute pink.
Definitely.
I love pink.
It's a vibe across everything, including the light color that we have when we go to sleep. When you contacted me, it was after I found you for what you were doing for mental health. And after being in Greece for 6 years on and off, somebody so open to trauma-informed care and disability-informed care, it was a relief. It was a relief.
It is a relief to meet you and to come in relationship with you. I am supposed that I can call you a friend, and I would really like to be friends with you one day, someday, somehow. We start today with this conversation in our podcast, in our συμπερίληψη podcast, inclusion, the English word about συμπερίληψη. Και όπως έχετε καταλάβει σήμερα, το βίντεο θα είναι στα αγγλικά. Ηλία, τι κάνουμε? Ηλία, τι φάση? Έχουμε γίνει Hollywood, παιδιά. Philippa, I'm speaking a little bit in Greek in order to greet our audience, because they are mainly Greeks. And we will put the subtitles under our English words. Οι υπότιτλοι μας, παιδιά, θα είναι στα αγγλικά σήμερα, για να μην τους κάνουμε και στα αγγλικά και στα ελληνικά. Οπότε θα κάνετε λίγο ξεσκόνισμα στις γνώσεις σας της αγγλικής. Γιατί σήμερα έχουμε το πιο τέλειο επεισόδιο συμπερίληψη με την αγαπημένη μου Philippa Cooper. Αυτήν την εξαιρετική παρουσία, η οποία μας έχει βοηθήσει τόσο πολύ στο crowdfunding. Η Philippa ανταποκρίθηκε με το πρώτο post μου που είδε για crowdfunding. I'm speaking about the crowdfunding campaign that you have helped us and how beautifully and gladly you like to help.
Oh, absolutely. Again, I've been in a situation for quite a while in Greece where I understand my requirements for my mental health, and being able to support that in a way that resonates and to lean into it was just it was meaningful to me, and especially in the way that I understand, even from my husband's perspective, how low a priority it is in so many ways in Greece, and it directly impacts me, it directly impacts my husband, and to contribute a voice to providing support to that was vital. It was vital for my sense of self-esteem and supporting the community around me, and of course yourself.
Your help was huge. Η Φιλίππα μας βοήθησε πάρα πολύ με το που είδε το crowdfunding και με το που είδε το μήνυμα που της έστειλα. Ξεκίνησε να ποστάρει, ξεκίνησε να προσκαλεί τους ακολούθους της να μας στηρίξουν και ο λόγος που βρισκόμαστε και οι δύο σήμερα εδώ είστε όλοι εσείς που στηρίξατε την καμπάνια crowdfunding μέχρι σήμερα. Σήμερα λοιπόν γυρίζουμε το δεύτερο crowdfunded επεισόδιο της συμπερίληψης, υποστηριζόμενο αποκλειστικά από εσάς. Η καμπάνια μας τρέχει ακόμα και θα τρέχει μέχρι και τις 10 Μαρτίου, αλλά ακόμα και αν βλέπετε αυτό το βίντεο μετά τις 10 Μαρτίου του 2026, αν θέλετε να μας στηρίξετε, μπορείτε να πατήσετε στο link της περιγραφής και να το κάνετε. Εγώ θα μιλήσω στα αγγλικά αποκλειστικά σήμερα. Θέλω να είστε επίοικείς. Oh my God, I'm really nervous about the English because I don't trust my accent and my grammar. Μαμά, θέλω να είσαι επίοικης.
You are challenging that by the performance art and consistency in your delivery is exceptional.
I don't know. My mom is an English teacher, and I hope that she is not mad at me after this episode. So,
For me, you will never receive the face that's like,
oh my God, what a language!
What is the English that is? No,
You know, it is a stereotype because here in Greece we have this bad habit to mock a person who speaks English, either if they speak them with a good accent or if they speak them with a bad accent. We mock them both ways. I don't know why.
It seems like a status symbol and a strange kind of, I mean, I'm too interested in language to ever judge how someone says anything. It's always the reason why you were saying what you were saying. But I do feel that Greeks do judge each other more harshly than I would judge a Greek for their English.
Yes, it is a critical culture. We have a lot of critique in our culture, a lot. For everything.
I have noticed it's very difficult to be... Well, you don't rock the boat here, and if you do rock the boat, you do it quietly behind closed doors. And as a Scot, you can't. It's very difficult. You are brutally honest, and you mask any form of critique with sincere self-deprecation. It's just sincere. We criticize ourselves heavily. And there is a high level of suspicion in Greek culture.
Paranoia.
Yeah, and although I know the history, I don't have the systemic trauma that could inform that level of paranoia.
I love your perspective and the way you perceive the world. I feel that you are a really systematic and good observer of the people, of the psychology, of the culture. And this is why I would like to discuss with you in this episode. I would like to meet you. I would like you to introduce yourself to us. And I would like to talk to you about the different cultures alongside disability. Because you are from Western culture, you are from Scotland, you're from England. Here is a more Eastern.
Careful, you can't mistake those two. I'll take that one personally.
Diplomatic episode.
Careful.
Here is a more Eastern culture. And
British, if anything.
British, you're British.
English.
Okay, British, okay.
That was the British. Leave out the T. Don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only British.
Bottle of water, butter. British.
Okay. So, who is Philippa beyond the labels and beyond the Instagram? Who are you? Tell us more about you. How many years you are here in Greece?
Well, I am 37. I have been back and forth to Greece seeking my residency so my husband and I can be together. I am married. That happened in March last year.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
you are newlywed. You're pigeons!
I didn't get the proposal. Like, it's not a green card thing or a visa thing. We love each other very deeply. It's a bureaucracy would like to remain together.
Yeah.
Which means you kind of forgo all the fun stuff. Like, you know, which I enjoy. I love a story.
Did you have a Greek wedding? No. A big fat Greek wedding?
No.
Why?
A big time and flash. The pomp and this, it was always going to be small. But I wanted a little bit of zhuzh, but you can have a party at any time. What was more important was making sure that we could be in the same country together legally.
Of course.
So for 6 years, it's been a back and forth, running out of visas,
yes.
Trying to remain legal somewhere. I am a storyteller and a story acquirer, a constant learner. And my mama said I should have been an actress, but I think she kind of thought it would be with somebody else's production and stage rather than my own. But
we have a production here. Speak with Alexandros after the episode.
This for me is a treat. It is a treat. Now that I think I'm Sagittarius. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm a Virgo. I have never told this.
I don't sit so much in it. It makes me feel social to impart something that is ubiquitously social, because I do identify as a chronically weird human. So affecting something that I have learned is positively social. It makes connections with some people.
It's a really good starter for a conversation with some people. I feel that people need some information more epidermic from one another in order to connect.
Yeah, it's without labels. It's like Sagittarian. I'm like, oh, people are some of their parts. But sometimes it's a very easy way to state a lot in one sentence. That's exactly what you just said. It's an easy way to go, this is me, and skip a lot of things. Yeah, that's exactly what you said.
Let's talk about the disability thing.
Oh, okay.
Is it something that happened afterwards in your life? Is it something that accompanies you from your birth?
This is where I'm gonna use my AI voice because this gets ahead.
I grew up in a family with learning disability. 3 people having dyslexia to a greater or lesser degree. And I was profoundly aware of the issues these 3 people had and the supports my siblings received, mainly because I didn't receive them. And because I was a child who could read and write easily, I didn't see them as supports. I saw them as my siblings getting a brand new MacBook to provide for something I had acquired naturally. And it didn't help that the main advocate for my siblings was profoundly ableist very much that dyslexia was a superpower and disability was something for the individual to overcome or use to manipulate others. I had physically disabled friends whom were branded as needy, and that they were only my friends because they required care from me. Even going so far as my family to brand me as cripple care. As I grew up, I realized that the main person orchestrating my perception of disability was not only dyslexic, but also profoundly prejudiced, and had ensured that my own disability had gone unnoticed. Emotional instability, selective echolalia, Gestalt language acquisition, hyperfixations, routine rigidity, pervasive depression. I only truly understood in my 30s that I had been living with neurodivergence my entire life, and then began experiencing the progression of upper motor neuron disease at 32.
Because I have an acquired disability, a lot, I think, of the observations that I've made quite gratefully through the questions you've given me are going to be directly impacted by the fact that this is an acquired disability that I have physically. People kind of praise me for my competence in my mental health, which can be touch and go. But there is a big tussle with internalized ableism that comes with acquired disability, compounded by that history, which is, I had a profound dyslexic running the family perspective on what all disability meant. And I do not talk to that person anymore.
Okay.
I will be quite honest, it's my father. And when I became dependent on mobility aids, he was diminutive, he was insulting, and he also has a neurological disease, not the same one, but leaning into him for support only meant being a parent to him, or counseling him through his perspective on himself, which as a child, as an adult child, is horrendous to me.
So you were the parent most of the time?
Yes. My parents married quite young, and I cannot deny they loved us in their fashion. Where my mother, I would say, grew into motherhood quite late. She did grow. My father, on the other hand, did not. And that, when experiencing something as profound as acquired disability later in life, it does cut you off from what you perceive to be a natural attachment. You are supposed to love me and support me regardless of my age. And it's something that I don't think resonated with my father, is that your child never stopped being your child regardless of age.
Sometimes it's guilt. I have seen it a lot, that parents of children with disabilities, no matter the age of the child, they feel huge guilt about the diagnosis, that they did something wrong, and the child acquired a disability or has been born with a disability. And sometimes this guilt transforms the behavior of the parent so deeply that the parent cannot be a parent anymore.
I think that definitely kind of, I feel I was held to a different standard of offspring, shall we say, as the child who grew up with no identified disability. I had no excuse. I had no inbuilt reason, and it is possible that it is coming from a place of guilt, which I perceive as painful and sad. And you don't want people to feel guilty, especially for something they cannot control. But in general, my father was quite a controlling person to begin with. So one would say it was to be expected. But it doesn't make that hurt any less because of, again, that initial attachment and bond that you make. The yearning for a love that technically was never there to begin with, not the type that you expect, doesn't go away. And you kind of have to balance out, if I seek that from this person.
Philippa, do you feel that it was the disability who caused that? The whole difference between the whole difference between the periods after the diagnosis and before the diagnosis, or these malfunctions in the relationship with your father were always there, and no matter what, they would manifest themselves.
I think they
because
would
I see people every day who tell me exactly the same things about their father or their mother, and they are not disabled.
No, they are. I think it's compounded as a lot by disability. It is whether people wish to acknowledge it will happen or it won't. It is a global experience. Hopefully, if you acquire disability and you haven't, that is the best case scenario as far as I'm concerned. You're still here. But it is how would I describe it? Like playing Pokemon and the mana stacks and disability stacks on top of every other stressor.
Yes.
It alters those stressors profoundly.
It's like a lens. It makes the stressors huge.
Yeah.
And the polarities and the feelings.
Magnified.
Yes.
Exponentially. So I don't think family problems are unique to any individual. We all have a gripe on some level. But disability definitely at least made me less tolerant of the impact my father was having on every area of my mental health. I'm sure his perspective is probably different, but it is no longer my responsibility to counsel or support him through that. One, because it doesn't serve me. Two, I don't think it has ever served him. But three, I genuinely don't have the effort to do so anymore.
Can I ask how many years have you gone no contact with him?
It has been 3
years.
3 years, and it was a process, a back and forth.
I believe it's a grief.
Oh yeah.
For you also, and a grief for him.
Oh, definitely. I can't deny that, and a living one as well, because you are profoundly aware of what you could potentially be missing. But also that to acknowledge that grief is to acknowledge the similar grief that was caused by the relationship as it was. And I think that's something to definitely respect in a person when it's not an easy choice, especially in disability where support is so vital. It's not an easy decision to make, and it even when I had decided to pull back emotionally and stop giving to that relationship, there was so much back and forth. and testing how honest boundaries would be met, and realizing actually there is no wiggle room, and that is devastating.
I believe that it is a brave thing to do, to cut off people who hurt you, even the closest ones, and to set some boundaries and be honest and disciplined about them. Because it's really easy to speak about boundaries and say, oh, I have boundaries and I will not accept that. But when the time comes, I raise my head or I bow. What I'm doing. And as a disabled person also, I can tell that when I am a minority, because disability is seen as such, is seen as a minority. When I belong in a minority group and when the society puts me so much burden around me, it's really difficult to detach from significant others. Even if they hurt me, because I feel like I need them. And what if someday I need them and I need some help, I need their support, and I do not have them? So I will endure their behavior in order to have them. And you did not endure. You have the bravery to say, no, I will do my life, I will set my boundaries, and I will detach even if I need you, even if I love you.
It's just, I mean, I also have the good fortune of being over 600 miles away, which limits something that is very physical in me to do, which is to respond.
So leaving Britain was a choice, was a conscious choice. You wanted to leave for your reasons? Or it's something that happened due to your husband because he's a Greek?
Yes. It was a happy accident. But to say that, as in it was, that was a good fortune, I guess, that he is Greek, and this was the place that we go, but at the same time, it was not a choice. The bureaucracy in the UK has changed so much in the way of how one can live life as a foreigner.
For your husband?
Yes. And as a disabled person.
Even after Brexit?
Yes, for a disabled person, even if my husband was not Greek, there is no marriage equality for disabled people that instills autonomy and independence. When you get into a relationship and and you move in together, your supports as a disabled person diminish. Your individual supports, care hours that you provided for and funded by the government will be cut if your husband earns over a certain threshold.
Oh, really? So you have the carers and the government provide, but when you get married, this is cut?
Not even when you get married, just when you move in together.
When you move together, oh my God.
Yep.
So they do not promote family or making a family. They promote to everyone to stay single.
Exclusion, yeah. It's for not everyone, but disabled people. Disabled people, yes. Your supports that are provided to enable you to get around what everyone agrees is still a very inaccessible country are stripped from you as soon as you become partnered.
Oh.
Not completely, they will judge it by their own standards.
So, at what point did you realize that disability is not a personal issue only? It's not a tragedy, of course, and not something that must bother only you as a person, but it is a political theme. It's a political example, a political issue.
I have one pre-disability and a personal one post-disability example of how politicised disability has always been. It has been a growing awareness for me. When I worked as an early years teacher, I began as bank staff around Hampshire. Between one school and the next, sometimes only separated by a local government boundary, provision for SEN, special educational needs, could go from high on the agenda to low on the agenda depending on which roads needed fixing, which pubs needed saving. And while overall education was a non-negotiable hand in the government kitty, education for disabled children is often provided with the change left over from that handout, then public donations, then a rich benefactor's passion project. Simply due to a perceived lack of priority, the trickle-down nature of cost into a child's individual support community due to lack of government prioritization creates the illusion of it being a personal tragedy. The second is through the trials and tribulations of being in an interabled, cohabiting relationship in the UK. To receive documented and sanctioned support for disability, physical, intellectual, emotional, monetary support, there are legal limits to what you can earn, how long you can work, statutory levels to which your disability does not disable you, how many bedrooms you can have. And if you move in with your partner, despite the disabled person being held to an individual standard and deemed as being autonomous and deserving of independence, some or all of that support can be withdrawn based on the partner's income as soon as you move in with each other for a certain amount of time. Your social capita is immediately and intrinsically tied to another person.
So they enforce disabled people to stay unemployed, to stay alone, single, even if they won't form some kind of relationship, to stay in small apartments, to stay in a lower way of life in order to maintain the public care.
Yep.
They do not enforce growth, they do not enforce improvement. Here in Greece, it's the same exactly, except of the part that we do not have public care for our carers and our people that take care of us. We must pay them, or they are not available in public. We have some public help for the wheelchairs and the aids, but not so much. We have some public help for the therapies. We do not have public care about the home, the housing thing, or the accessibility in our homes. But there is some way of a salary every month, something like a salary every month for every disabled person, according to their percentage of disability, which can be cut if you find a job. So here in Greece also, they do not promote finding a job.
The pressure is put on the community as a whole to survive. In the UK, you have what you're describing is what we would call incapacity benefit, the inability to work within whatever confines or qualifies as work in this country, which is disproportionate as far as I'm concerned to what qualifies as work. Here, the pressure to overwork is insane.
Yes.
But incapacity benefit, we have that because at any point in anyone's life, they may be incapable of work. What that doesn't make up for, which in the UK the PIP system did, was that there is an infrastructure and an accessibility issue that can only be addressed by giving a disabled person money to enact their own accessibility, because the government perceives it as so other from the from a common human experience, that it's so special, so outlandish, that you cannot make structural change, you cannot make bureaucratic change. It's for the disabled person to do.
It's the problem, the disabled person, it's the problem, so it must solve itself.
So you give the disabled person money from a kitty, but then what you end up with is individual houses, if they can get granted from the government to make changes to the house, and adaptations to the house, you just have pockets of accessibility.
Not an accessible world. Not an accessible road from one point to another point. You live, I live, we live in a bubble. We build an accessible bubble, and outside this bubble, the world is again the same.
And if you and the PIP system that was offered in such a fashion is now being pulled back and is being put back into this idea that it is a substitute for salary, for work, which is not. It is a substitute for a government that will not make systemic fundamental change to its infrastructure to support accessibility. But now it is being treated as, well, if you can do X, then we don't need to give you the money to do X outside in the world. It is unconscionable. Because also the money that they will gain back into the UK government, there is no guarantee whatsoever that is going to go back into actually making that infrastructural change that is necessary. Because as described, it changes from council to council, from border to border. Schools can be literally 200 meters apart and have completely different provision. And unlike in Greece, there is no community substitute.
In Britain?
In Britain,
yes.
Not
in
to
Greece,
the same
we
level.
have the community that brings back some power and balances the public lack. Yes.
In a way, but in the same way, what you gain in one sense here, I have profoundly lost in another, which is an internal, validated sense of competence, confidence, and self-esteem.
You lost them, you mean?
I wouldn't say they're completely lost. I'm still I was very Scottish, everybody. I was about to say I'm still a cunt, but it is very difficult, I think, for everybody in this country to remain kind with such a high level of criticism. It is even more difficult to remain kind when you are subjected
as a minority.
It's so much more specific.
Yes.
The level of assumed incompetence of me in my daily life is downright. it is overwhelming. It is.
So you say that Greek people make great assumptions about you, and they imagine things about you and your incompetence, your imaginable incompetence, that have nothing to do with your reality, only because of stereotypes.
Absolutely. Stereotypes, and also I think, again, that ingrained that perception that one will be criticized constantly, or constantly judged for doing the wrong or the right thing.
But from whom? From your friends or from your husband's family? From people that are near or from people that are far? Because I know that about the Greek culture, that we have the support, but at the same time we have all the judgment and all the suffocation from the real close relationships.
I don't know how you guys manage in this country during the summer, because you guys don't blink at the same rate. Like I'm in the UK, we have don't stare. Now, even I was coming to Greece before I was disabled.
Yes.
Even my husband.
There is staring, especially if you are on a wheelchair.
Yeah, even my husband, when I first met him, it was like he met a child, and she said, he makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. And I'm like, he's really lovely. It's just watch, because you'll realize he doesn't blink. And once she figured that out, they could have a conversation to be in the same room with him. But at the same time, he said to me, "Oh, I don't think she likes me. I think she thinks I'm weird." And I'm like, "That's because you won't blink." And he's like, "I blink," and I'm like, "You're really? We could have a family meeting about it, kid. You don't blink." The high level of perception in here.
And audacity. Everyone has the audacity, the authority to tell their opinion, to ask you questions, to give you advice, even if they are far away from you, or even if you do not ask. So, Philippa, you're speaking about ableism, about the notion that people with no physical boundaries and no physical lacks are better than people with some physical disabilities. How do you perceive ableism here in the Greek culture? And from what type of people do you perceive it? From your people that are close to you? From the people that are far from you?
It is definitely strangers, and it is not so much the intent behind it. It is, or it is the fact that it is constant. And in my friends, this last question, in my group of friends, they've learned that I am 100% a sum of all of my parts. Depending on what subject you're going to get, you are not going to get a filtered, contrite version and stuff. I once had a friend way back in the beginning when I only had the cane, and we went to the beach. I sat down on the grass, and he took the cane and hung it on the umbrella. And I looked at him and I'm like, "What, so I'm going to fly up and get it?" And he's like, "Well, it's just because it was in the way." And I'm like, "Oh, your dick's not in the way, but you're still not putting that up on the umbrella. Like, you can't." And that brutality can sit very welcomely with friends, and it's funny. But with strangers, just as a matter of British good manners, you're indentured to being polite on a de facto, but then when it's expected of you 100% of the time to reassure somebody that they're coming from a place of helpfulness, one, you're not coming from a place of helpfulness, and two, you're not helping anybody. You are purely facilitating your perception of a chaos that doesn't exist. And
do you answer, Philippa, to them? Do you say anything?
do
you quarrel? Do you fight?
Entirely depends on the situation and how. Sometimes I say how many times I have had my day interrupted by having to reassure somebody that they get the gold star, and at the same time you don't want to offer it for something ridiculous, intrusive and presumptive. What I've got the example here, so a certain measure of it can be empathetic. I think we are all capable of acting out our assumed perceptions of chaos. But when it's a fundamental approach to a certain minority of human beings, specifically, it creates a chaos. It just doesn't, there doesn't have to be one, and where one didn't exist in the first place. So there was one time my husband was pushing me and I dropped a bottle. So maybe he's behind me, let's not yet. So I reached down to grab the bottle, and a gentleman was in middle verge on the road, shouted and ran into 3 lanes of traffic, shouting at me, "Leave it." And then he endangered himself, terrified the shit out of me. I don't know what he thought my husband was doing, but then he had the audacity to shout at my husband for not helping me. It was needlessly dramatic, and it was so dangerous and so intrusive on our lives. Not just for me in the sense of panic of having a complete stranger. I mean, at what point when that bottle fell did it become napalm? I don't understand. And this is always masked as chaos, as helping. Yes. It's always masked as helping.
As caring, as interested.
Even if it is me going, "You're behaving ridiculously," and it's like, you just need to accept help. Go fuck yourself. Yes. Like, the main source of my help is right behind me. And you even elected incompetence on his behalf. And I'm married to the guy. And you have the audacity to speak to my husband in such a way. Never mind behave that way towards me. Never mind to patronizingly lean over and try and make this a learning experience for me because you're embarrassed about how you've behaved. It's not, and it is not at all my responsibility to soothe somebody's discomfort. If I wish to, if I empathize, if I can find a common ground, if I can. But if somebody is behaving disgracefully towards me, there seems to be an expectation that I should then provide more grace. They're being disrespectful towards me because I am disabled. I should be more respectful.
It is the expectation of the disabled person to be always grateful and always cheerful and happy and easygoing.
in the UK, the stereotypes of what we should and should not be.
I think my last answer gave you that. In either situation, I am entitled to neither, at least not accurately. If I am angry, it is too angry or unjustified. If I am grateful, it will always be perceived as not grateful enough or dismissed as patronizing. What I have learned is that I am permitted all of the emotions, but I am not at all granted agency over any of them.
Yes, yes.
And
it's nearly a non-human experience. It's like everyone else expects from us, the disabled, to be merely humans, not have human needs, not have human boundaries, not have human reactions, not have human emotions. Like we're something between child, between pet, something between an angel, but definitely not a human and not an adult.
In Greece especially.
Yes.
Actually.
Yes.
And
for every child.
It comes down sometimes, I believe, to even something as specific as the language that is consistently and rigidly used in the country to describe the more overt demonstrations of disability, despite so much propaganda, despite December 3rd being a reformation for the day for International Day of People with Disabilities, where Greece thought it was life-changing to attune education on disability for one day. Not 2 days later, I still heard an elementary school child call this thing a karotsi. And in a country, and it's sorry, I have education. I devoted 15 years of my life to it. Who was doing that educating on that day where not 2 days afterwards, I hear an elementary school age child pointing at me and calling this a karotsi? How effective was that one day when even that bare basic, the big blue symbol, couldn't even reprogram that? And it is because this is a karotsi, therefore it is a cart. And despite what the education system could do in 2 days, the society around could unpick it immediately. And when you spend your life being perceived in a cart,
yes,
you become a product and a commodity that gets shifted. So then I am not at all surprised that there are women who are my age and younger who will call me παιδιά.
Yes, a child, yes.
A child. And that perception is not respectful, it's not endearing. It's endearing when it comes from my yaya or Pop's yaya.
Yes.
It's because she has earned the right through being older than me by 49 years to call me a child. But she knows that I am a woman, whereas I am aware that the person pushing their child in a karotsi,
it's extremely, extremely insulting. Yes, I have faced it countless times. And even if I present myself as a psychologist, as a businesswoman, as an academic woman, as a married woman, always a girl, always a child, the children with disability, and even if I speak about social and psychological issues, when I say something that bothers the masses, they always blame it on my disability.
Oh.
You are jealous because you are disabled, and you say that because of your spitefulness, and you don't know the experience because you cannot live it, because you are disabled. And always they are trying to imply that I have the notions I have, and the experience I have, and the knowledge and the ideas because of my disability. Not because of education, not because of political stability or ideology, only because of my disability. I was speaking about the children post on the internet that must be banished. We must not post our children on the internet.
No, it was not.
And they became furious on the comment section, and they said that I have no children, and they don't know if I have children or not, because I'm not open about my personal life. And they said that I'm jealous about people that have children, and all of that was implying that this is because of my disability.
So desperate to defend. I'm a millennium born in the fourth technological age, raised on stranger danger, particularly on the internet. These people that say these things, to use such ridiculous stigma and lack of awareness to defend wanting to put the most vulnerable in our society, to defend an action that directly harms the most innocent in our society by assuming jealousy and a weakness.
And
a perceived weakness, not even a true one, a perceived weakness is, I will never understand it. And particularly anything to do with a child being online as a content creator. And this is better the following, it is more important that the child is protected from that environment. I'm very aware of the environment that I run in. It's almost like the attack on you for saying that is the example of where your child should not be on there.
Exactly.
And shouldn't be introduced before that child is ready and able to cognitively manage the direct impact on their privacy as a human being. And it's like the calls coming from inside the house as to why my video exists for you, and you're showing it in the comment section.
Would you like to tell us what's the biggest obstacle in your life here in Greece as a disabled woman?
I would have to say, that's why you didn't ask me.
It's the accessibility, it's the public transportation, it's the buildings, it's the jobs, it's the people.
It is the overall immediate perceived lack of confidence.
So it's the people, the perception of people.
I would hate to be so. There are exceptions to every rule. But strangers here behave in
a racist way.
We would say prejudice, but it is compounded by cultural racism.
Of course.
I am
prejudice
foreigner.
Is racism.
Yeah,
yes.
I am a foreigner. I'm a disabled foreign white woman living here. as we talk, those things stack. But the biggest impact to me is I have worked very hard to be as eloquent and as competent as I am. It is not something that was given naturally to me. It is not something that was expected of me, and very regularly when I was growing up, it was taken from me. And there have been many circumstances in my life where the same competency and experience has been wrestled from me. I have fought to be as competent as I am. And here, even by people who are in positions of knowledge and power to enact accessibility, have treated me as if I am an idiot, and have treated me as if I am a fool, and that I have no experience, and have perceived valor on my behalf, have been outright ableist with again, this, and I suppose that leans into me going, I make assumptions of somebody else. I assume the best. Quite often. And in Greece, when it comes to the casual acquaintance and casual interaction, I am left profoundly wanting for that mutual respect that should exist between people, more so than in the UK. And the UK has its own issues where you are very much, they're very much in a state of, what is the statement? It's very much in a state of, from a place of privilege, equality can seem like oppression. There is a tussle where there's no idea of who's the elected authority and what disability means. So we're all kind of, if it's equality, then you don't get this, or we get this, or who decides this? And who is more important than the other? And who has the right to enforce? Here, there is not even that. I am considered a fool in all respects, a lot of the time. And it, as I said, it harms you. It harms your sense of kindness. It harms your sense of well-being. It is the thing.
What do you do to preserve your self-kindness and your hope and your light? Because you're a really bright person.
Natural self-deprecating humor and leaning into that acceptance that I've, and leaning into the acceptance of myself and the lessons that I've learned prior to this that have only taught me that everybody is human, and humans are ridiculous.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course they are.
Humans are the most ridiculous things on the earth.
Oh my God! Can I borrow that? Can I use that in my sessions?
Well, I think it's a lot more eloquent. Occasionally, why are people so stupid? Oneself included, to do things like, why are we so stupid? Like, because there is no logic to why we do the things that we do some of the time. And we are just ridiculous in our motivations, in how they clash, in how we enact the things that we do. And you can find hilarity in all of it. And there are circumstances where somebody can elect offense in humor. But what doesn't offend one person enriches another and makes them feel seen. And if you don't find it funny, and there are subjects that I do not touch, but if you do not find it funny, I'm not a bitch to that extent. Maybe you're just not comfortable with the fact that you're sincere in this activity where other people have no idea what you are doing. And they're laughing at you.
I couldn't agree more.
It has been a culture shock, but I don't think here. But again, I spend a lot of time. As you said, you gaslight yourself into believing you need the specific kind of support because it's the only one available. And you have to be conscious that if you don't have it, the world isn't accessible enough yet to achieve it yourself. So you hold on to it, whether it's good or it's bad, because it's terrifying. But the things you have to accept in this country, I think one of the questions you asked me was, which is the most harmful form of prejudice? The violent kind, or the one masked as helpfulness? I'm a Scot. I live in the idea of don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining. The cost of outright violence, the capital cost, can be extortionate. Whether that is someone pushing your wheelchair down some stairs, breaking it deliberately, or outright being physically violent to your physical person. And more time I spend here, the more I do not feel threatened by physical violence. I find the willful assumption that I am a fool in this country.
Yes.
It's far more. It's death by 1,000 cuts. It is a death by 1,000
It's
cuts.
like a slow death.
Yeah. And for what? So somebody can get a gold star for helping a cripple, or for acknowledging, and I use that word very gently, so a person can, it's my name, satirically, sensationally, I use that word, because that's what is perceived.
I believe that in any kind of violence, we must answer with creation.
Definitely.
So, before we close today, I would like to ask you if you wouldn't mind to share with us your next plans. What's your plans for the few months above us, and what do you want to create?
Well,
what's your dreams for the future?
Most recently, in the kind of career scope and disability, I was accepted onto a lived experience panel for an accessible beauty brand that has developed its own tools to render brands more accessible, but it is steamrolling into the rooms of L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, big brands, to make systemic change to the beauty industry for accessibility. A group of fantastic individuals, all brought together for different disabilities, learning, intellectual, physical, And I'm really excited to be a part of that.
It's huge. It's beautiful.
As a person who spends way too much money in Mac, I'm so pleased to be a part of and to have been welcomed and selected. It's a privilege to have the opening into that room. It sounds saccharine and sweet, but my husband's a chef and he's recently invented a dish.
Oh my God!
Well, he's a sous chef and he's worked hard to get there. And after so many years in Greece, he's been in a position where he's been able to give a dish and
to be creative.
Yeah, and it's on the menu. I can't wait to try that. New bubble bath. Because for years I thought the plug in the bath wasn't working. The plug in the bath was working. And just nobody had talked about it. So bubble bath once a week, and shamelessly movies where the main antagonist is like mid-victory monologue and then is karmically hit full on by a bus.
Beautiful.
I cannot get enough of that at the moment.
Philippa, it was a privilege to have you here. I cannot thank you enough for your presence here and for our conversation. I feel so warm after that, and I feel that I really gained a new friend. I'm sincere about that.
You have to tell me this, because this is like a signature for you.
Yes.
I need the lipstick.
The lipstick, the red?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like red lips.
But also I feel that maybe I'll get some like contact enthusiasm for mornings, because how anyone does morning has eluded me forever.
I'm really sorry to bring you here so early in the morning, but it's due to our heavy program.
Somebody out there will definitely say that it is good to be out and it's good for the circadian rhythm and morning air is the best and it's really good, blah, 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 bed.
No, they're not. I'm not a morning person either. I only wake up to work because it's mandatory. So I would definitely like to be in my bed right now. But you are here, and I think that I prefer that I'm here with you.
It's something that has been woefully lacking in my life. You become so isolated because of this, because I'm very painfully foreign. And you become isolated. So when you get to do this,
yes,
there's a difference between being alone and lonely, yes. And you become so much more aware of it when you have a good conversation.
Would you like to tell anything to our audience, with or without disabilities?
Follow me. I might make you laugh, and if I don't, I'll certainly make you feel alive by pissing you off.
We love to piss us off. Please, please, Philippa.
What do they say? It's like, well-behaved girls never make history.
Of course. Ρέλια, μήπως είμαστε τελικά το BBC? Δεν θα το πιστέψεις. Ρε παιδιά, μήπως είμαστε τελικά το Hollywood? Εγώ πώς μιλούσα αγγλικά τόση ώρα? Λοιπόν, μαμά, θα είσαι περήφανη τελικά έτσι. Έκανα πολλά λάθη. Αυτό δεν θα κοπεί, Αλέξανδρα, αυτό θα μπει. Το επεισόδιο για σήμερα με συγκλονίζει. Είναι μια εμπειρία το να φιλοξενώ τη Philippa Cooper εδώ. Είναι ακριβώς η μετουσία της συμπερίληψη να είμαστε σήμερα εδώ, η Philippa και εγώ, μπροστά σας, στο κέντρο της σκηνής και να συζητάμε για το τι σημαίνει ακριβώς αναπηρία και ποιο είναι το βίωμα των ίδιων των αναπήρων γυναικών. Είναι τιμή μας που έμεινες μέχρι το τέλος. Κάνε ένα subscribe μοιράσου το με τους φίλους σου, βοήθα μας στο crowdfunding, στο link που θα βρεις στην περιγραφή και μέχρι το επόμενο βίντεο, μείνε φροντισμένη, μείνε φροντισμένος, μείνε φροντισμένο. Εις το επανειδή.